Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of your program Interesting Interviews. You know, there have been very important events in several countries the last years. We can mention France, England, the USA, Germany, but today we have decided to present you 4 important events that took place in the history of the mighty Russia. But why Russia and not Germany, for example? Well, as we're going to see, there were some important events in this country that were essential for the rise of a new system of government, communism. Yes, that good and fair system that nowadays is not very well accepted by countries such as France, the USA and England. So today, we will present 3 interviews that I have prepared, since my favorite reporter Luis Manuel is dying in the hospital, and also 1 interview prepared by my good friend, the mighty Cesar. First, we will present an interview to Nicholas II, in which he talks about a period known as Russian rebels, including the Bloody Sunday and the March Revolution. After that, Lenin, the leader of the Bolsheviks, will talk about Russia's role during World War I and how he managed to control his capital. Then, Leon Trotsky, Stalin's rival and top commander of the Red Army during the Russian Revolution, will give us a panoramic view of Russia's situation during the period known as the West between the wars. Finally, in the last interview, Joseph Stalin will talk us about Russia during World War II. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin. I hope you enjoy the interviews that I have prepared for you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are with the landowner monarch of Russia, Nicholas II. It is a pleasure to be here with you, Nicholas. Thank you for letting me interview. And well, now that you're not the Russian Tsar anymore, tell us, which do you think were the causes for the Russian people to begin with the rebellion?
Well, first of all, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I think that there were many reasons that contributed to the rebellion of my people. First of all, some freaking socialist ideas began to enter my country, despite the fact that I allowed censorship and repression. Imagine that, how can that be possible? Then also an industrial working class began to rise in my country. So they soon realized that they had bad working conditions, and they began to think that they needed better working conditions. Another thing is that Russia was involved in several wars since the middle of history. For example, the Crimean War and the Russo-Turkish War. These conflicts made us spend a lot of money, so there was a bad economic condition in my country. Also, I accepted the fact that I cared about myself and I didn't care about my people and their needs. Also, another fact was that we have to increase the taxes in order to have a better economic condition. So I think those were the reasons why the rebellion started in my country.
I think definitely those were very important facts for the Russians to get sick and tired of the government and begin with the rebellion, right? Now let's talk about the Bloody Sunday of 1905. How could you be so cruel by ordering to kill people that were protesting in a specific way in order to end their civil liberty, right?
Hey, wait a second first. I was not responsible for that massacre. I was absent that day. I left my palace to go to Sankoye Selo to spend a few days resting with my family. My uncle, Vladimir Alexandrovich, was responsible for that massacre. He commanded to kill all the people that was protesting in a pacific way. I was not responsible for that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nicholas. I did not know that. Now, what do you think about the March Revolution of 1917?
Well, I think that the workers were in all the right to protest in that way. I think their demands were fair. I did try to stop this strike by sending my troops, but they allied the protesters. What can I do? I do not know which was my error. This was the beginning of my end. I decided to abdicate because I could not bear the situation anymore. You understand? Russia was going crazy. I thought the easiest way out was abdicating.
It was an intelligent decision. And finally, what do you think about the first communist government established by Lenin and his new economic policy?
Well, the NEP was a very intelligent decision. Russia was really talking about the economy. Thanks to the communist ideas that were adopted by adopting capitalist principles, definitely the situation was going to be better. This is a clear example of the future failure of the communist regimes.
You're right. That was all, Nicholas. Thank you for answering my questions. Do you have any last words?
It was a pleasure, Mr. Cesar. But now my last words for the audience are that I would say that this historical process from 1905 to 1921 that I would call Russian rebels was very important in the fate of Russia. It allowed communism to become the new form of government. Such a shame. Monarchies are always better. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with Mr. Lenin, the leader of the Bolsheviks. Thank you very much, Mr. Lenin, for letting me interview you. So, let's proceed. What do you think about the Skiffen plan?
Well, this plan was supposed to let Germany defeat Allies more easily, but it was a trap. Those Germans felt very superior that they underestimated the power of my country. It was an excellent movement to strike earlier than expected in August 1914 in the Battle of Tannenberg, despite the fact that we're defeated. We demonstrated that our country does not fear anybody. We may not have the most powerful army, but no matter what, we are becoming stronger.
This is a very convincing answer from your part, Mr. Lenin. Now, tell me, what do you think about the Gallipoli campaign? Don't you think it was a little bit idiot from the part of the Allies? What do you think?
Yes, I totally agree with you. It was obvious that the Central Powers would not let one of their allies to be defeated so easily. The Ottomans could be the weakest territory, but they were supported by the Germans. So that meant that they would not be easy an enemy. I do not know how the countries such as France and England, who claim to be great, could have developed such a full idea. It was a great loss for the Allies. Instead of helping us, we lost many men.
So, I think the Gallipoli campaign was very full, in fact. But now, let's talk about your surrender from the Eastern Front. Why did your country give up, Mr.
Okay.
Lenin?
Okay. Wait a second. It would have been idiot to continue fighting. Russia did not have a powerful army. It was weak. We had military leaders that had poor strategies and were bad leaders. Our country could not spend more money in weapons and things used in war. There was a bad economic situation in Russia. We needed money to avoid a crisis. It was a shame that we could not continue fighting, but it was the best solution for the people in Russia.
You have gave me very strong reasons for Russia to have surrendered in the war, Mr. Lenin. Your answer was very accurate. Now, let's talk about the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. Why did you sign it? Which were the reasons why you did that?
Okay, so first, many people have criticized me for that. Okay, so I signed it because it was the only way to make Germany to stop threatening us. As I mentioned before, we needed money. We will not continue spending it on our army. I had promised my peoples to restore peace in Russia, since I am a man of war. I had no choice and I signed the treaty.
We understand the reasons why you signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, Mr. Lenin. This was all the questions that I had for you. Thank you for letting me interview you. It was a pleasure to be here with you.
No, thank you.
Well, but now, do you have any last words to our audience, Mr. Lenin?
Okay, yes, just a little bit about it. I know that I have been criticized because of my actions, right? The Bolsheviks, the communist ideas, the Soviets, but think about it, people. Communism is the best form of government. My people deserve better life conditions, and only this system can make this real. Capitalism and monarchies only bring unfair and unequal life conditions. Peace, land, and bread. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we proceed with the interview to the once beloved Russian leader, Leon Trotsky. Well, Mr. Trotsky, I think it was a long trip from Mexico to come here. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for letting me interview you. Please, tell us, what do you think about the way Stalin took the power in Russia?
Well, I think he's a feared person, and a liar that doesn't deserve to wield the power of a great country such as Russia. He just got there by cheating people and by brainwashing them. He destroyed my reputation and saved me out of the game. But I think that in fair conditions, I would easily have been the winner.
Well, that is such a shame, Mr. Trotsky. But what can you say about how Stalin saved Russia from the Great Depression?
Well, that's a good question. Russia was saved because it was completely isolated from the world's economy because of its revolutionary communist ideas. I think Stalin did right at creating the 5 years plan to restore the Russian economy from the great impact of the wars it had during the previous years. Nevertheless, I don't agree with the way how he did that plan. He didn't respect the rights of the people and forced most of them to accept it by using fear and violence.
Yes, I think he saved Russia, but not in a correct way. Mr. Trotsky, you have just used the terms fear and violence. What do you mean with that?
But he's such a murderer. Summing up all the victims that died directly or indirectly since he took the power, we get the shocking number of 20 million dead people. This number includes 1 million brutally executed by his will just because they had different ideas and dared to defy him. Other 12 million died in the camps. And finally, 3.5 million in rude collectivization. This is an irrefutable proof which demonstrates how incompetent he is for governing a country, because he can only do this by using the force.
Oh my god, definitely it was brutal. We all agree this was terrible, Mr. Trotsky. But I want you to tell us, how would you have governed Russia in order to maintain a stable economy during such a worrying situation without repeating Stalin's actions?
Well, I would have taken much to accomplish that goal, but if I could have been in the place of Stalin, I would never have murdered so much people to restore the government. I would have applied a principle that was like a war communism. For some years, the people would have had to give the government a few part of whatever they produced. In that way, the economy would remain stable. I would have spent more money in industrialization, and I would have decreased the money spent in arms and the sort of things. I think those could have been my strategies, if I had been a Russia's ruler.
Well, that was all. Thank you very much for lending us some minutes of your time, Mr. Trotsky. It was a pleasure to have interviewed you. It is such a shame the fact that you were expelled from the USSR. I think that your country would not have passed through a period of so many dead people and violations to the rights if you had governed instead of Stalin. Hello, spectators. Here we are with Joseph Stalin. It is a pleasure to be here with you, Mr. Stalin. Thank you for conceding me this interview. So, let's begin. Why did you make a pact with the Germans when you mainly saw the Allies from the West trying to defend Poland?
Hello, thanks. Well, mainly because the Poles did not allow my troops to cross Poland and Germany, but also because I needed time to prepare in case of a war, and, well, I did not saw a benefit of a conflict with Germany. Instead, I saw an economic disgrace in case I had joined the capitalists.
I totally agree with you, Mr. Stalin. So now, tell us, what do you think about the German invasion to the Soviet Union in 1941?
Well, besides the little breathing space that the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact gave me, I am embarrassed to say that they caught me with my pants down. But still the strong Red Army was able to retreat the Germans with the help of our greatest weapon, the Russians' winter.
I would like to talk now about the famous Battle of Stalingrad. What can you tell me about it?
Well, at the beginning we did suffer a lot in the battle for the city, but then me and my comrades launched a campaign that basically consisted in surrounding the Germans, and well, guess what? We, the Russians, were the first ones to defeat those freaking Germans, making Palos to surrender, and eventually weakening Hitler by winning this battle, yes.
Well, now, what can you say about the great movement campaign Russia did with the Allies to eliminate Germany?
Well, basically, after the Battle of Stalingrad, I made a huge effort to retreat completely the German forces. Well, and then I eventually started to redirect my troops to the west to start an invasion of Germany, and, well, we then finally got until Vienna to surrender the Germans, and then we got further in and surrounded Berlin, and eventually, well, you know what happened, Hitler died and we took Berlin actually.
Indeed, I do. And now I am curious about what happened at Potsdam. What can you tell me about it?
Well, there were many things we discussed on the Potsdam conference, but mainly we talked about operations against Japan, the entry of my country against Japan. We talk about many things against Japan, but well, don't tell anyone. But someone told me about an atomic bomb that was later released at Japan. You know.
Oh, don't tell me. Well, I think this is it. Any last comment about the war, Mr. Stalin?
Yes, I would like to say that after this war, Russia has proved that we are eventually made of steel.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, those were the interviews that we prepared for you. I hope you enjoyed them. As you could see, the period of the rebellion of Russia and its role in World War I were essential for a new system of government to rise. After that, Russia suffered from bad economic conditions thanks to that inefficient system, and also, unfortunately, a dictator such as Joseph Stalin took the power and made many mistakes. As a conclusion, I can say that the period from 1905 to 1945 was a very dark and difficult time for Russia. Its constant defeats in war, its bad economy, the social situation, the way in which Stalin governed, all those factors were overwhelming. It is to admire the fact that still Russia exists, and it is one of the most powerful nations in the world. That was all for today. Thank you for watching us, and see you in the next edition of your program, Interesting Interviews.